The oppression of the expert, tyranny of the experts, I've heard people say. I want to take this one call right here that is... Here's a call that I've been waiting to get for a while now. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Where is it? Here we go. Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Frank, it's Derek.
Derek, great to have you on, man. Now, listen, it's 8:45, and Rob and I finally got around to getting to the actual meat and potatoes of tonight's show. We almost forgot to talk about Space Force.
Yeah, Space Force.
Now, obviously, you have a pretty interesting job. You're one of many people that watch this show that have very interesting jobs and professions and specialities. Can you please tell us a little bit, whatever you can, about what your background is and what kind of knowledge you have on the subject?
Sure. So Space Force, not too much, except for everybody that I work with is really excited. We want to see where this goes. But I'm in Air Force intelligence. I've been in the Air Force for 10 years, maintenance, and then I switched to intel. I was watching the drone feeds for, gosh, probably like a year and a half, basically hunting down bad guys in the Middle East, and that was pretty sweet. But now I'm over in Florida, and basically I just do imagery and imagery-related things. But that's pretty much my specialty.
Now, as far as what people are talking about now with Space Force and some of the theorizing that people like Thomas Wichter have put forth, that it's not so much that we're going to go out there to try to fight ET, it's so much more that we're going to actually be coming out in the open with our kinetic weapons programs, like rods from God and stuff like that. Can you tell us anything about that theory or kinetic weapons in general?
I can't speak to anything specific as far as projects are concerned, but it's always interesting to read his tweets because he does seem to have quite a bit of information on stuff. But, just things to consider. A lot of different countries, including us, send satellites and whatnot up in space, and it's really crowded. The Air Force tracks a lot of satellites, but who's to say, what the other country's satellites do to our satellites or vice versa? So it's just something to keep in mind. So it's just something that, it's definitely outside of my purview as far as I just deal with imagery and stuff. So the satellites that I work with directly basically is all taking images and then we exploit that. So
then what are you, as far as everything else goes, so then let's just generalize a little bit more. It's the first time you're calling in, right?
Actually, I called in before, but it was very briefly. We were all pretty upset about the IG report, and I had just commented briefly about, the Wiener laptop, the crimes against children, the notes from one of the FBI agents that was interviewed. It was just really sickening stuff when you go through that.
Well, it's good to know that we have more confirmation every time that people call in, that there are people that are looking at the world from different standpoints that are actually on the inside. I mean, you're in there. What can you say about the Patriot community in the Air Force?
Oh, it runs deep, man. I tell you what, every single person that I work with, like when we talk about politics in general, there's this new feeling amongst all the people I work with that, hell yeah, we're finally back. Trump's unshackling us. We're finally allowed to do the mission, to get stuff done. And everybody, it's so funny. When you talk about Hillary Clinton, they're like, oh yeah, she should be in jail without question. To put SAP on a private server, that's intentional. There's no way that you do that by accident.
Talk about that a little bit. Talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
So when you get into classified information, so everything's a network, right? So just regular computers are on their own unclassified network. But when you get in, there's various levels of classification, and they're on their own separate level of network. And there's not a lot of interconnection between the two. I can't send a top secret email to my unclassified email address. It doesn't work that way. I mean, there's like a hub where you can upclass or downclass things, but somebody's at the other end looking at that saying yes or no. So for her to set up a private server, to me, that just says she was selling shit. She was, because you have to physically take SAP and type it into that server into that computer, and to leave it unsecure like that, to me that just shows like it's just on this unsecured server, and then
Right.
did it get out? And then all of a sudden I get a bunch of money from Clinton Foundation. I mean, SAP, you don't even say the name of the program. Like, you get read into it, and it's beaten into your head that if you whisper the name outside of the group, you will be in trouble, and you get read out of the program. So that kind of level of material, that even the IG looking into her situation said that that they didn't even have the clearance to look at it. That's intentional to me.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
See,
Absolutely.
And nobody gets explained stuff like this too. This is another thing too. This is why I really appreciate the insight from the audience, and the audience are as big of a part of this show as everything, because you got to draw from the collective intelligence here. And man,
Yeah.
that's just.
No, I mean, even for so for me with the top secret stuff, you have to have a need to know. Like, you don't just get access to all information. I mean, you have to have a need to know. And if you start going outside of your little compartmentalized area, that's a red flag, and that could be reported to somebody like, why is so-and-so, who's normally, in this area of expertise, asking about something else? So that's how we kind of keep control of our classified material is, you're read into specific programs, and then you're kept compartmentalized into your team. And there are people that are kind of the fusion experts that take products from the different cells, if you will, and kind of put it into a larger project for, the higher ups. But those people have to go through even a more stringent process to be able to get that job.
As you're coloring all this in too, it makes it more and more obvious how many people at the top, at the top levels of government, and I'm talking right to the very top, had to have known about what she was doing, just because of all what would have had to. She wouldn't have been able to do all this by herself. Like, she wouldn't have been able to walk out with something without people knowing. And then, of course, it gets more and more confirmed when we hear from, Cheryl Mills, and how Barack Obama was outed after he explicitly told the American public he learned about the email server at home by hearing about it on television, when he was actually
communicating.
He was communicating. And you had the Elizabeth Carlisle account. Everybody had secret Gmail accounts. We know that half of the FBI.
Well, did you read the report where the FBI said that when they went to interview people at state, that if they were going to go after Hillary, they were going to have to go after like 100 and some people because of how badly they were handling classified information?
Oh my God. No, I didn't hear this.
Yeah, it's in the report. They were like, man, what are we going to do? Like, they're mishandling this so bad. Like, if we went after her, if we prosecuted her, we'd have to go after like 100 and something people, because they're so stupid with how they're handling the information. Huma Abedin had classified in her car. It was supposed to be in a burn bag. So if you have something that you don't need anymore, you're supposed to burn it. You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to get rid of the stuff. She had the stuff in her car. I mean, there's total disregard for this stuff. And just, I don't know if you listened to Dan Bongino, but he made a really good point about, somebody had to take Obama's phones and his email and whitelist the Clinton server, like her emails. Like, all the different email addresses, you can't just email the president. It has to be whitelisted, which means somebody had to program in your phone. This can accept emails from her.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just things that you don't even consider. Derek, first of all, I'm so grateful that there are people like you watching the show. And it's 8:54. I want to ask you one last thing. When you say that morale is high, I know there's a lot of people that would hear a military intelligence guy and it's talking about how we finally have Trump has unshackled us. We're allowed to do the job again. And some people who are all automatically weary of military adventurism and military intervention around the world, and how much trouble that's already got us into. Are there any, with that being said, is there anything there to allay or at least give people out there who are much more wary of us continuing our gallivanting around the world and dropping bombs every day in places that we don't even know how to pronounce. Is there anything that we can hold on to that there's actually people and a culture brewing inside of the military that's looking for ways to actually draw down, get out, withdraw ourselves from the more toxic roles that we're playing militarily around the world, and actually create a lasting peace at home or something?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say that, the people that want to go to war least is us, you know what I mean? Like, we don't particularly want that, but you have to understand that we're in situations now, and I think a lot of people need to give Trump a little bit of time. I mean, he's stepping into some really bad stuff, and you can't just turn that around overnight. You know what I mean? So just give him some time, but just know that he's not the one that wants to go and spread the democracy like the previous administration. He knows that's not going to work. He's more about empowering the people that are there. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to get our partners more involved. He's trying to get those countries more involved in their own security, because he doesn't want us to be over there. He knows that, well, listen, it's been going on for a long time, man.
Well, listen, man.
Just give him some time. Just
Derek,
give him some time.
Thanks again for the call. Thank you for spending a whole 11 minutes with us. I got to stop right here because we have to get off, but call in anytime, and thank you for watching, man.
Yeah, anytime.
All right,
Thanks.
take care,
Thanks a
brother.
lot, man. That was a great call.
Yeah, absolutely was.
Great call.
A lot of good stuff there. Now, listen,